What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Now, you know we got another banger for y'all. I can't even speak right. It's been so crazy in women's college basketball this week. But you know we gotta break it all down. So kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me. For the third straight year, Coach Dawn Staley has been named Nate Smith National Coach of the Year, leading South Carolina to another impressive undefeated season and potential national championship. And we heard from her because her players, you know, we've seen kind of get snubbed for a few awards possibly. You know, they don't get a whole lot of individual awards, but they are racking up the team awards in South Carolina. So we heard from Coach Dawn Staley about that. And former Gamecock Bria, Beal, former national champion, national defensive player of the year, drafted by the Minnesota Lynx, has signed a contract to reunite with maybe the best Gamecock of all time, A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces. But what does it really mean? Well, we'll get into it. But before we do all that, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest, and join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Coach Dawn Staley racks up another postseason award, National Coach of the Year, going for the three-peat. Are you kidding me? Since 2022, Coach Staley has won National Coach of the Year. This year, she guided South Carolina to a second consecutive undefeated regular season. They won back-to-back SEC regular season and tournament championships. They got the top overall seed in the NCAA tournament for the third straight season, and she was named the SEC Coach of the Year for the third straight year as well this season. This is her seventh time garnering the conference award, and then we know she added another National Coach of the Year award, which makes it 4 in the last 5 seasons. This season, South Carolina advanced to their 10th straight Sweet 16. They also pushed through to the Elite 8 and got to the Final Four. This is the 4th straight year that the Gamecocks have been in the Final Four. When you talk about dominance, I mean, we know Coach Staley's got this statue now. Like, she's an icon. I just can't see a situation where she ever leaves South Carolina. It's the perfect setup. She could run for freaking governor when she's done. We passed mayor. I'm talking governor. She, signed that big contract extension a couple years ago. She's locked in for a while, and she's been worth every penny, continuing to just elevate the hoops game on the women's side and elevate her program to just new historic highs, man. South Carolina has become the standard. They've overcome adversity. They've had media tabloids try to tear them down, attack their character, attack their play style, and it didn't matter. Coach Dawn Staley has just remained relentless in her goal to push this agenda of her program, to protect her players, and to not bow down to any criticism. So salute to her, and she had some words just talking about postseason awards regarding her players.
Everybody's staying in character with how we're perceived in the national spotlight. I think I stand here in front of a lot of local media from Columbia, South Carolina, and the surrounding Greenville. I stand here knowing that you guys have been there from the very beginning. You know the very fabric of our team. You know it better than anybody. So to read an article, to read a tweet, to listen to you on the news, to broadcast our team means the world. I'd much rather have it this way. Because it's received in a way of actually knowing what our team is all about. So I thank you and I applaud you for being here and being, breaking the budget, seriously, because your bosses have decisions to make to come cover women's basketball like it's never been covered before, and I appreciate it. I really do appreciate you all, and I try to give you the time and whenever we can to give you the stories you need to take back on home and to make sure that you're meeting your mark and getting your money's worth.
South Carolina has a big cross-state rival matchup against NC State for a chance to go to the national championship. This is no pushover, man. NC State has been ranked a top 3 team in the nation for majority of the year. Sanaya Rivers, a former South Carolina Gamecock, facing her old team. Isaiah James, one of the most improved, if not the most improved player in the nation. Their leading scorer, who has just had a sensational year, made a huge jump from last year. I don't know if anybody's made one bigger. They have size. Mimi Collins, River Baldwin. They're going to be physical, and they're going to not back down from South Carolina. On the other side, we know what South Carolina's bringing. Camila Cardoso has put this team on her back this entire tournament. Malaysia Fulwiley has been sensational. She could be freshman of the year anywhere else. She decided to be a team player at South Carolina. Ashlyn Watkins, Chloe Kitts, Sanaya Fagan in that front court. They are deep, they're physical. And what I like most about this group of bigs is they all bring a different type of skill set. And they all impact the game in different types of ways. You got Raven Johnson, who's been on her revenge tour. If Iowa tries to disrespect her, if they end up playing, getting past Uconn, if Iowa tries to disrespect her and sag off and play her like Ben Simmons again, I'm guaranteeing right now she is going to light them up. They've turned three-point shooting, their biggest weakness in the last several years, into one of their biggest strengths this year with the addition of Tahina Pau, as well as freshman shooters Fulwiley, Tessa Johnson, who's coming off one of her best games. I mean, we're talking about 10 players at least that could be starters on just about any other team in the nation. And Coach Don Staley gets these McDonald's All-Americans, these highly touted number one option type of players, and gets them to all play together like some all-star team, man, like the Monstars. They buy into the culture and they buy into the winning mentality, and they're rewarded because Coach Staley gets them to the next level, which is ultimately the WNBA. She replaced 5 draft picks, people. 5 draft picks. Reloaded, brought up basically an entire new team for the most part. Yeah, I know a lot of them were already on the roster last year, but players like Bria Hall, Ashlyn Watkins wasn't getting the same type of burn. Chloe Kitts, another one in that front court, not getting the same type of burn last year that they're getting this year. They have just taken on expanded roles, and everybody plays their part, man. And it's just really incredible basketball to watch, to be honest. Dawn Staley's teams carry her mentality. They carry themselves with pride. They carry themselves like professionals. And they have passed every test. They've taken every team's toughest shots 30-plus times this year, and they have delivered every single time. They look like the hands-down favorite to win the Natty. They do have a big test against North Carolina State, though. And at North Carolina State, they got to come in. They got to make shots. They got to be aggressive on the boards. And they got to make things difficult for South Carolina and also just hope that South Carolina has an off shooting night, which we've seen a couple times in this tournament. But Dawn Staley, just incredible ambassador to the game, and just exciting to see her continue to be rewarded for her efforts, man. So love to see that. One of her former players, Bria Beal, finds her way back in the WNBA after getting cut like a Sunday coupon before the season even started. The second-round pick, 24th overall for the Minnesota Lynx, came in known as a defensive stopper. You know, she never averaged double-figure scoring at South Carolina, but she won Defensive Player of the Year. She was known for locking up the opposition's top perimeter threat, and now she gets the chance to join Las Vegas Aces superstar and South Carolina alum and defending WNBA champion, for that matter, A'ja Wilson. So the deal is a free agent training camp deal. Right now, the Aces have 14 players on the roster, so Beal's getting a chance to make this team. She will wear number 8 for the Aces, and she's joining, like we said, 2-time WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson. Beal hasn't seen any action in the WNBA regular season-wise, so we really haven't seen a chance. We haven't gotten a chance to see the player she can be. But at South Carolina, she was a member of the 2022 National Championship team. She averaged 6.1 points, 5 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and that's over her 4-year career. She was an Associated Press All-American during her senior year and a member of the SEC's all-conference defensive team as well. And they get a chance to play in front of Gamecock fans, Beal and Wilson, on May 12th when they played Puerto Rico in an exhibition game at Colonial Life Arena. And we know the Aces, the defending champs, kick off their season May 14th against Phoenix. Now, when Beal was initially cut, because we saw a lot of more highly touted players even than her get cut, but it was surprising just because of the fact that defense usually translates immediately, and the Lynx needed all the help they could get, but they ended up letting her go, and she's getting a second opportunity. There was a lot of outrage back when I made the video about Destiny Henderson and Beal getting cut, both from their respective squads in the WNBA, and it felt like, man, we needed to see some expansion for these talented players that are getting cut to have an extra opportunity, because a lot of WNBA teams are only keeping 11 players, guys, just the way the salary cap is set up. So it's tough. It's very tough to make a roster. So it's good that Beal, stayed in shape, kept her game ready, and now she's getting another opportunity to, save face and carve out a role in the WNBA, man. Interesting to see. This won't be the last of the signings that we hear, but this was an early one that we got to hear about that's interesting, and it's a good story, man, honestly. Wishing the best for Beal. She's bringing that tenacity, coming from a winning pedigree, joins the defending champions. Now, you look at the Aces roster, will she make this team and be able to carve out a role? I don't know. Looking at it, Beal at the top, wearing number 8. They have Kirsten Bell, Alicia Clark, who played big minutes for them last year, Sydney Colson as well, Chelsea Gray, a starter on this team who took over the playoffs last year, Megan Gustafson, Bria Hartley, Morgan Jones, Kamaria McDaniel, Candace Parker coming back for another year. She got injured last year, so it'll be interesting to see if she can come back and be impactful, because she was good while she was healthy and brought a different element to this team with her versatility at 6'4", being able to spread the floor and shoot the three. All-star point guard Kelsey Plum, obviously coming back, going to be manning that point guard role. Kia Stokes, Asia Wilson, and the other half of that backcourt, Jackie Young, who is sensational as well, a walking bucket on this roster. So there's going to be a lot of competition to try to not only make this team, but earn some minutes. But, hey, good for Bria Beal. She's getting another opportunity, so we'll wish her the best, and we'll keep y'all updated on her process and her journey as she tries to make the Las Vegas Aces. But good stuff here, man. And then more postseason awards, man. We saw Caitlin Clark take home the National Player of the Year back-to-back. She's just been sensational this season. She's led Iowa back to the Final Four with a chance, if they can get past a very tough and inspired Uconn squad, a chance to get back into the national championship game. And they beat South Carolina last year, so there's definitely going to be some revenge on the menu for South Carolina. They definitely want to prove themselves against Iowa. We just saw what Caitlin Clark did to LSU. We just saw what Clark did to LSU, man. 41, 12, double-double, light work. They had no answer for her. She lit them up last year, lost, fell short of a natty. She lit them up again this year and put LSU out of the tourney, ended Angel Reese's college career, and now she faces one of her friends in Paige Bueckers, former teammate in international play. Uconn has overcome so much, though, man. First of all, Paige Bueckers having 2 season-ending injuries back-to-back. She comes back, and she's in the National Player of the Year running, probably having the best performance of any player single-handedly in this NCAA tournament, has UConn on her back with Aaliyah Edwards. They overcome losing almost half their roster to season-ending injuries, and it doesn't matter. Coach Ariama has his team firing on all cylinders, and Paige Bueckers is just simply an inspiration. She is been deemed the most elite and efficient basketball player that we've seen in some time. That numbers have put her in the same category and conversation of only LeBron James, the chosen one, King James. So that tells you enough. But Caitlin Clark, it's been hands down. We knew this day was coming. She wins another National Player of the Year. Just stamps another stamp in her historic legacy in women's college hoops. On the year, Clark is averaging a crazy whopping 32 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, and 9 assists. Are you kidding me? On 46% shooting. And she's just been sensational, man. She's breaking all the scoring records. She wins another National Player of the Year award. She's looking for that elusive national title. And for a chance to get back to that elusive national championship game, she has to go through a very inspired Uconn squad led by a friend of hers, Paige Bueckers, who was the talk of the town before Caitlin Clark really exploded onto the scene. Their freshman year when they came in, Paige Bueckers had all the headlines. She had all the spotlight, and she was winning the awards before those two injuries. And ESPN's Molly Quorum had some interesting thoughts about that situation and basically said we wouldn't even be talking about Caitlin Clark potentially the way we are if Paige Bueckers would have never had consecutive season injuries.
All I gotta say is she's lucky this Uconn team isn't healthy. And that's a true statement.
That's wrong, Molly.
Monica,
That's wrong, Molly. Molly,
like
it's
five
excuses.
top players,
It's excuses,
am I right?
Molly. It's excuses.
Major injuries.
You would not be saying that if it wasn't UConn.
Major stars not playing.
Listen, I'm among them this year that I was like, oh, UConn not the UConn of old, and here they are. So.
But I'm just saying, she wouldn't be bringing that up if that's what's unfair about her. Molly would not be bringing that up if it were not UConn.
A hit dog will holler.
You understand? Hold on. Is Paige Bueckers big time?
Big
She's
time.
spectacular, right?
You know what?
Excuse
We gotta
me.
go.
It's her against Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A.
Ain't no excuses.
Stephen
You
A.
got there.
Wait a
No, want to hear that now.
Stephen A.
Let me tell you, if
Paige
Georgetown gets
Bueckers-
back in the mix, I'm going to be insufferable. I'm just telling you that now.
What?
If Georgetown gets back in the mix on the men's or women's side, I will be insufferable.
Okay, so you
Monica, if Paige Bueckers didn't basically miss 2 seasons, I don't know if we'd be talking about Caitlin Clark the way we are now. And that's facts,
and
Stephen
to
A.
that point, it was the two of them.
I said that the other day.
I was out of the country.
I'm just saying, don't bring up
so
now
I
that they
wasn't
completed
watching
roster. They got to the Final Four. Don't bring it up.
Now, it's nothing but respect for both of these players, man. They've really done a good job of representing the game and also giving each other their flowers, man, up until this point. So this is going to be a mega matchup, two competitors, but there is love between the two. Obviously, we mentioned they're friends, and, you know, they've given each other their flowers heading into this game.
I think the coolest thing about Paige is how resilient she is. Obviously, she's kind of been dealt a tough hand, and, you know, that girl only has positive things to say about her teammates and the way she carries herself on and off the court, the way she works hard, and none of that has changed, you know. Since I've known her since she was in middle school, she's always worked that same way. She's always had that fire. She's always been a great leader, and, you know, I really honestly couldn't be happier for her in the year that she's had, and, you know, the way she's led this team back to the Final Four when they've kind of been dealt a tough hand as a program, and they never made excuses. And to me, I think that's something, you know, you just really admire as a competitor more than anything.
I think media coverage is important for the game. I think it grows the game. I know freshman year I was like the media darling. Everybody was like focused on me and what I did at UConn my freshman year. But I think it's more important for the game to share the spotlight, to grow the game and show all the stars of college basketball and not just focus on one particular player, whether it be me, Caitlin, Juju, Angel. I mean, there's so many names in college basketball now that are huge, that are stars, that deserve credit, and I think it's not my job, but the media can do a better job of just making sure everybody gets love, everybody gets not equal amount of attention, but try to spread it out more. So I honestly hope next year I'm not the vocal point and the only person that gets attention, and I hope as media, as players, we can spread the love a little bit more.
This is going to be a mega matchup, folks. We already know that, man. Hannah Stokey, Aaliyah Edwards going at it. The supporting cast of both squads. You look at Iowa, they're more experienced with Sydney Afalter, Kate Martin, potentially getting Molly Davis back. I don't know, we haven't heard much, but Gabby Marshall in that bunch as well. Iowa is the deeper team and they play more players. They will dig into that bench. And then on the other side, you know, UConn has their dynamic duo of Aaliyah Edwards and Paige Bueckers. Bueckers has been sensational, playing at a level where her name is being mentioned with only one other player, LeBron James. Just the way she's impacting the game on both sides of the ball. She's played out of position, playing at the 4. She's been the leading scorer for this group. She's grabbing rebounds. She's throwing out assists. She's taking charges, blocking shots. She's doing everything this team needs to win. And like Clark said, they haven't made any excuses despite having to overcome losing 5 players to season-ending injuries. Starters and heavy rotation players are missing from Uconn, and they continue to just push on. Paige Bueckers has been called the most elite player that we've seen, the most efficient, and the most cerebral player that we've seen in women's college basketball this season. We know what Caitlin Clark does. Just hung 41 on the defending champions, got her face back, got her ones back. But it's going to be up to these supporting casts. Who's going to come in and make shots? Both these teams want to shoot the 3. Both these teams want to get up and down the floor. We've seen that. You know what I'm saying? Now, in transition, Stokey could be a problem. Edwards gets up and down the court well, but can she keep up with Stokey? I don't know. On the other side, Edwards has the advantage on the offensive side of the basketball, though. We got to give it to her. The skill set, her ability to create her own shot, score on the low block. I mean, she's one of the most skilled forwards in the nation. Guard-wise, is Caitlin Clark gonna match up against Paige Bueckers? Probably Nika Mule, maybe, just because Bueckers hasn't really been running the 1. But these two, we got to give the guard spot, the point guard position. Iowa has the head. But then after that, it gets really interesting. I think at the 4 spot, the 5, we got to give it to Aaliyah Edwards. Bueckers is winning her matchup. But Kate Martin, did y'all see how she played in the last game? These singers for Iowa are on a mission, and Clark is doing such a great job of just trusting her teammates. It's going to be a battle on the glass. Neither one of these teams dominate their glass, to be honest with you. So this could be a key factor for both teams. Caitlin Clark does a really good job of rebounding the basketball, as does Paige Bueckers. Which one of them is going to be able to make the right play more times? That's what it's going to come down to. Who can limit mistakes, who can make free throws, who can get those 50-50 balls, because both these teams are going to be well coached. We got to give the coaching nod to Gina Ariama, but we can't sleep on Coach Lisa either, man. Blood her, because, hey, she got them to the national championship game. Now, Iowa has had to replace a lot as well, production-wise. But they're the more experienced team. Ashlyn Shade, KK Arnold have performed on some big stages. But this is the biggest game they've played in their young careers. Ice Brady, came up with some big buckets for them last game that they played against Duke. So it's going to take a total team effort from both squads. But Iowa scores a lot of points. And UConn's going to have to use that defense to try to slow them down. Because if it comes to trading buckets, I don't know if UConn has enough gas in the tank, man. They're definitely going to have to put some pressure. And, if you're going to let Caitlin Clark beat you, she's going to get hers. You got to shut down Kate Martin. You got to shut down Hannah Stalkey. You got to shut down Sydney Falter. You got to lock down that supporting cast. But this Final Four matchup is going to be superb, and it's just crazy that it comes down to 2 friends, 2 players that have been tied together since their freshman year, battling it out for a chance to play for the national championship. You can't write it better than any of this, folks. I'm just saying. You can't write it any better than this, but we do know, Bueckers was in that conversation for Player of the Year. She's been one of the most impressive players in the tournament. Caitlin Clark been doing it a whole season, and we're just enjoying the last ride with her. And I don't know. Y'all tell me where y'all rank Caitlin Clark all time with the GOATs like Breonna Stewart, Candace Parker, Maya Moore. Without, she's not playing it with as much talent as Taurasi and all these other players. She's being asked to do a lot more. But she doesn't have the rings. If she gets one this year, where do y'all rank her? It's a tall task. They may not even get past UConn. But y'all let me know how y'all feel as far as where Caitlin Clark ranks. I'm not here to debate that. I want to hear from you guys in the comments where y'all rank her all time. Another player that racks up a very familiar award for her, Cameron Brink, winning another Defensive Player of the Year award, being named the National Player of the Year, averaging almost 4 blocks a game, guys. She really, really helped Stanford move on from Haley Williams and remain in the national spotlight right before they make that move to the ACC. This was their last year in the Pac-12, and Cameron Brink left her mark for sure. Brink on the season averaged 17.4 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 2.8 assists.
It means the world. I mean, this is a dream come true for me. You grow up dreaming of these awards, so I think just super thankful for the committee, for Naismith putting this on, and I'm just feeling very blessed.
It sounds like you and Caitlin do have somewhat of a relationship. How well do you guys know each other? How far back does your relationship go?
We played on USA teams together, and I just think she's the greatest. She's so funny, and she just always is lighthearted and brings fun to whatever event we're at. So I'm just super proud of her. Huge congratulations to her for winning Player of the Year, and she deserves it.
I don't know what it's like as a competitor in this award to be able to say complimentary things about her like this, but what do you feel like she's done for the sport to earn an award like this today?
Caitlin really does everything. I think a little bit of everything, and that's what makes her so special. You watch her and you're like, she's really a generational talent. So we just have to thank her. She's brought so much to the women's game, and she's just going to continue doing that.
Did you have an idea she might win?
I was so shocked when Caitlin got that award. I was like, no way, girl. No way you won that. But yeah, she really deserves it, so I'm very happy for her.
And we know now for sure Cameron Brink will be taking her talents to the WNBA, where I think her game will translate. We saw her play against pros this summer in the 3-on-3 tournament that they were in, representing Team USA. We saw her play way more physical, using her size, using her length, and seeing her in a more fast-paced, wide-open game. Her being able to get up and down the floor like a gazelle, get to the perimeter block shots, just rotate, help on the weak side. We see what Cameron Brink could be at the next level. And what it is she could be an elite defender and rim protector. And she still has a scoring ability. We've seen her even extend her range out to the three-point line. I've seen her going as high as 2 in this WNBA draft to the Sparks. So it'll be interesting to see, but I definitely think her best basketball is ahead of her. But this is just another award. She's won like the last 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards in the Pac-12. She continues to be a dominant force, leading the league in rebounds. And at 6'4", she's long, she's athletic, she gets off the ground quick, and she has that natural shot blocking ability. She has the timing down. Stanford didn't accomplish everything they wanted to, but she's already won a national title back in 2021. So, hey, as far as I'm concerned, Cameron Brink is already stamped, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what she continues to do at the next level, but she leaves behind an incredible legacy, one of the best that we've seen in recent years at Stanford. And, she can leave with her heart full knowing that she gave her all to Carter's Nation and at least delivered them one championship. And, you just got to salute it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about the situation. Where will Brink go in the draft? Should she be selected over Rakia Jackson and players like Camila Cardoso and even Liz Kidley? I don't know. Y'all holler at me in the comments and let me know how y'all feel about all the situation. That's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.